The transport ship Harmony's Hope floated peacefully through space halfway between Earth and Mars. Inside, 47 children laughed and played, excited about their field trip to the Mars colonies. Their teachers smiled and tried to keep them calm, but the energy was impossible to contain. 9-year-old Da-Yoon Kim pressed her face against the viewing window, staring at the red planet growing larger in the distance. "My dad says Mars has the biggest ice caves in the solar system," Da-Yoon told her friend excitedly. "We're going to see them tomorrow." Her friend nodded, equally thrilled. The other children chattered about the museums, the underground cities, and the chance to see real Mars rovers. Their parents had saved for months to send them on this educational journey. Everything felt perfect and safe. Then the lights went out. The ship shuddered violently. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing everything in red. Children screamed. Teachers rushed to calm them, their own voices tight with fear. The ship's captain came over the intercom, trying to sound steady. Everyone remained calm. "We've experienced a power fluctuation. Stay in your seats." But Da-Yoon saw something through the window that made her blood run cold. 3 massive ships appeared from nowhere, surrounding them. They were dark and angular, covered in strange symbols. Nothing like the smooth Earth vessels she knew. These ships looked predatory, designed for war. "What are those?" a boy whispered beside her. Before anyone could answer, the Harmony's Hope shook again. The engines died completely. The artificial gravity flickered. Some children started floating, crying out in confusion and terror. Teachers grabbed them, pulling them down to magnetic floor panels. Da-Yoon heard a horrible sound, metal tearing. The aliens were cutting into their ship. She remembered something her father, Admiral Hyun-woo Kim, had taught her during a tour of his warship. "If you're ever in danger and can't fight, make noise. Make sure someone knows you're there." While the teachers tried to calm the panicking children, Da-Yoon crawled under her seat to the emergency panel. Her small fingers found the distress beacon. She activated it, setting it to maximum power and continuous transmission. The light blinked green. It was working. Earth would know something was wrong. The door to their cabin exploded inward. Strange creatures entered wearing armor and carrying weapons. They stood on 2 legs like humans but were taller, with gray skin and 4 arms. Their faces looked almost insect-like, with too many eyes and clicking mandibles. The Krellians had arrived. The lead creature spoke in broken English through a translator device. "Children, come, no harm if you obey." One of the teachers, a brave woman named Mrs. Park, stepped forward. "You can't take them. They're under Earth's protection." The Krellian laughed, a horrible clicking sound. "Earth is weak. New species. No power here." He raised a device and fired. A blue beam hit Mrs. Park. She collapsed, unconscious but breathing. The children screamed. Some ran. The Krellians were faster. They stunned the adults first, teachers, crew members, anyone who might resist. Then they turned to the children, their movements efficient and practiced. This wasn't their first raid. Da-Yoon felt the stun beam hit her chest. Her muscles locked. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. The last thing she saw before darkness took her was a Krellian soldier picking her up like she weighed nothing at all. When Da-Yoon woke up, everything hurt. Her head pounded. Her mouth felt dry. She was lying on a cold metal floor in a small cell. Slowly she sat up and looked around. The cell had transparent walls. In the cells next to hers she could see other children from the ship, all waking up confused and scared. "Where are we?" a small voice asked. It was Jimin, one of the youngest children on the trip. He was only 5 years old and tears streamed down his face. "I want my mommy." Da-Yoon pressed her hand against the transparent wall. "I don't know, Jimin, but we'll be okay. My dad will find us. All our parents will find us." She tried to sound confident, but inside she was terrified. Through the walls she could see the interior of a massive alien ship. Strange creatures walked past, not just Krellians but other species too. Some looked at the human children with curiosity. Others didn't look at all. 2 Krellian guards stood outside the cell block speaking to each other in their clicking language. Da-Yoon couldn't understand most of it, but she caught a few words their translators picked up. Valuable, rare, good price. Her stomach twisted. They were going to sell them. Like objects, like toys. Over the next hours, Da-Yoon watched the other children. Some cried constantly. Some sat in shocked silence. The older ones tried to comfort the younger ones. She realized that if they were going to survive whatever came next, they needed to stay together. She started tapping on the walls in patterns, simple Morse code her father had taught her as a game. Tap, 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 SOS. Stay strong. She kept doing it until other children noticed. Soon several of them were tapping back, passing messages between cells. We stick together, she tapped out slowly. Help each other. Don't give up. Meanwhile, millions of miles away, Da-Un's distress beacon signal reached Earth. At Earth Defense Command headquarters, alarms screamed. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim was in a meeting when his aide burst through the door. Sir, we have a priority 1 distress call. It's the Harmony's Hope, the civilian transport to Mars. Admiral Kim's face went pale. My daughter is on that ship. He ran to the command center where dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. The main screen showed the last known position of the Harmony's Hope. The ship was dead in space. Power completely drained. Get me a rescue team there now, Kim ordered. Already dispatched? Sir, but... The officer hesitated. Sir, we detected unknown ships in the area. They jumped to FTL 15 minutes ago. We're analyzing the engine signatures now. 2 hours later, the rescue team's report came through. Admiral Kim listened with growing horror. All adults stunned but alive. All 47 children gone. Evidence of forced entry. Alien technology residue matching Krellian Empire signatures. Dr. Hana Lee burst into the command center. Her face was red from crying. My sons were on that ship. My 7-year-old twins. Tell me they're alive. Tell me you're going to find them. Admiral Kim looked at her with eyes full of cold fury. They took our children. The Krellians took our children. He turned to his officers. Get me Captain Ji-won Park, mobilize the entire fleet, and send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we're coming for our children and nothing will stop us. An aide spoke up nervously. Sir, we only have 200 warships. The Krellian Empire has over 500. Starting a war would be... I don't care if they have 5,000, Admiral Kim interrupted. His voice was quiet but filled with deadly promise. They took our children. We will take everything from them. Every ship. Every station. Every world. They wanted to see what humans do when you threaten our young. They're about to learn. Within 6 hours, every human warship in the solar system received the same order. Prepare for total war. Earth's weapons factories went to full production. Soldiers who had retired were called back to duty. Scientists began developing new weapons. The entire human race united with a single purpose. Bring the children home. No matter the cost, Captain Ji-won Park arrived at Earth. Defense Command and saluted Admiral Kim. She was a legend, a Special Forces commander, who had survived her own childhood trauma during Earth's corporate wars. She understood what those children were feeling. I volunteer to lead the rescue mission, she said simply. Admiral Kim nodded. Get them back, Captain. All of them, yes, sir. And the Krellians? Kim's expression hardened. Make them regret they ever heard of Earth. As Captain Park left to assemble her team, Admiral Kim stood alone in the command center, looking at the star map. Somewhere out there, his daughter and 46 other children were prisoners. They were scared. They were alone, but not for long. The Krellian Empire had made a terrible mistake. They had taken humanity's children, and now humanity would show the galaxy something it had never seen before. The fury of protective parents with the weapons to back it up. The hunt had begun. 3 days had passed since the abduction. Earth's fleet moved through space like a pack of wolves hunting prey. 200 warships, all painted black, all running silent. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stood on the bridge of the flagship Retribution, staring at the tactical display. They were getting close. Dr. Hana Lee worked in the science bay below, surrounded by screens showing alien biology data. She had joined the fleet immediately, unable to sit at home while her twin sons were in danger. Now she was doing what she did best, finding weaknesses. Every species had them. The Krellians would be no different. Dr. Lee, a young officer said, we've captured one of their traitors. Captain Park wants you in the interrogation room. Hana saved her work and headed down. The captured alien was called Quindal, a small creature with blue skin and 6 tentacle-like arms. He ran a slave trading business in the Outer Rim. Captain Park had found him selling weapons and decided he might know something useful. Captain Ji-won Park stood with her arms crossed, watching the alien through the observation glass. She was a small woman but moved like a coiled spring, all controlled energy and deadly purpose. Her special forces team had done their job perfectly. Quick, clean, no casualties. He's scared, Park said as Hannah joined her. Good. Scared people talk. They entered the room together. Quindal's eyes widened when he saw them. I told you everything. I don't know where the human children are, I swear on my ancestors. We haven't asked you anything yet, Park said calmly. She sat down across from him. But now I'm curious. You seem to know about human children being taken. Why is that? The alien's tentacles twisted nervously. Everyone knows. The Krellians raided an Earth ship, took young ones. It's all over the trading networks. Bad business, very bad. Humans are new to galactic trade, but everyone knows, don't mess with their young. Yet the Krellians did, Hannah said quietly. Her voice was cold. Where do they take slaves after capture? I don't deal in children, never. Only adult workers, all voluntary contracts. Captain Park slammed her hand on the table. The metal dented. Quindal flinched. Where? The exchange. The big station in the outer rim. That's where all captured beings go first. But I never. Park stood up. Give our intelligence team every detail about this exchange, location, defenses, guard schedules, everything. If you cooperate, you live. If you lie, you won't. Quindal talked for 3 hours. He gave them everything. The exchange's coordinates, the names of every major slave trader, the security systems, the typical number of guards. He even provided access codes he had bought from a corrupt Krellian officer years ago. When they had everything useful, Admiral Kim made a decision that would change everything. We're not just rescuing our children, we're destroying that station. Sir, an officer protested. That's a civilian station, there are laws. It's a slave market, Kim interrupted. There are no civilians there, only victims and the people who cage them. We extract every prisoner first. Then we turn that station into dust. The fleet jumped to FTL. When they emerged near the exchange, the massive station hung in space like an ugly metal spider. It was huge, large enough to hold thousands of beings. Lights dotted its surface. Ships came and went constantly. Business as usual. Not for long. Captain Park led her special forces in first. 20 teams, each with 10 soldiers, all the best Earth had to offer. They approached in small stealth ships, landed in the station's docking bays, and moved like ghosts through the corridors. Sergeant Minho Choi's team took the security center. They burst in fast and hard. The guards barely had time to look up before stun rounds dropped them. Minho accessed the main computer and downloaded everything. Prisoner locations, guard positions, trader names. Goldmine of intelligence. Captain, we've got the prisoner manifest, he reported. Over 200 beings held here, various species. No human children listed, but there's a note about a recent transport to Draktor. Draktor, the Krellian fortress world. Captain Park felt her jaw tighten. Copy that. Continue with extraction. The special forces teams moved through the station methodically. They found the holding cells, rows and rows of cages filled with scared beings from across the galaxy. Some had been there for years. Some were recent captures. All of them were thin, dirty, and hopeless, until the humans arrived. We're here to free you, Park told them in multiple languages, using translator devices. Stay calm. Follow our soldiers. You're safe now. Many didn't believe it at first. Freedom was something they had stopped hoping for. But the humans were patient. They opened every cage, gave out food and water, treated injuries, and slowly, carefully, they moved all 200 prisoners to the docking bay where transport ships waited. The station's owners and guards realized too late what was happening. When they tried to fight back, they found out why humans had a reputation for warfare. Park's teams had trained for exactly this kind of close combat. Within an hour, every guard was either unconscious or surrendered. All prisoners secured, Park reported to Admiral Kim. We're clear. Roger that. Get your people out. You have 5 minutes. The special forces evacuated quickly. The transports undocked and moved to a safe distance. Then Admiral Kim gave an order that echoed through every human ship. Fire. Kinetic weapons, solid metal rods accelerated to incredible speeds, slammed into the exchange. The station's shields held for exactly 3 seconds. Then the rounds punched through, tearing into the structure. Explosions bloomed like deadly flowers. Atmosphere vented into space. The whole massive station broke apart in less than a minute. 3,000 slavers died. Not one escaped. Admiral Kim watched it happen without expression. His daughter was still out there, and these people had profited from stealing children. He felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Dr. Lee stood beside him. "Do you think we went too far?" "No," Kim said simply. "Not far enough. Not until our children are home." News of the exchange's destruction spread across the galaxy within hours. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Ambassador Loreth, a wise old alien from a peaceful species, sent a message directly to Earth. "Admiral Kim, I must warn you. The Krellian Empire is demanding your immediate surrender. They are calling this an act of war. If you continue, many will die." Kim recorded his response and broadcast it across all galactic frequencies. He wanted everyone to hear this. The Krellian Empire took 47 human children, innocent beings who had never harmed anyone. They took them from their families. They took them to sell as slaves. That is the real act of war. We are simply responding. This is our message to the Krellians and anyone else who thinks humans are weak. Return our children unharmed, or we will burn your empire to ashes. Every station, every fleet, every world. We will not stop. We will not negotiate. We will not forgive. You have 72 hours. The message shocked the galaxy. Most species talked about peace and diplomacy. Humans talked about burning empires. Many thought it was bluster. Empty threats from a young species that didn't understand galactic power. High Commander Vexithar of the Krellian Empire certainly thought so. He watched the humans' message and laughed. Emotional primitives. They have 200 ships. We have 500. They want war? We will crush them and take more of their young. They will learn their place. But some aliens understood better. Ambassador Loreth had studied humans. He knew something that Vexthar didn't. Throughout Earth's history, humans had fought each other constantly, wars over resources, territory, beliefs. They were very, very good at fighting, and they had never, not once in their entire history, lost a war fought to protect their children. On the Krellian ship holding the human children, Da'yun and the others felt the vibrations of engines preparing for another jump. They had been moved twice already. She didn't know where they were going, but she could tell from the guards' behavior that something had changed. The guards were nervous now. They moved faster, checked their weapons more often, and Da'yun overheard them talking. The humans destroyed the exchange, an entire station gone. Impossible. They are weak. Few ships. Then explain the debris field. Explain the 3,000 dead. These humans, they don't negotiate. They just attack. Da'yun felt hope spark in her chest. Her father was coming. Earth was coming. They hadn't forgotten. They hadn't given up. She tapped the message to the other children. "They're coming. Our parents are coming. Hold on." In his command center, Admiral Kim received the final piece of intelligence they needed. Sergeant Choi's team had traced the ship movements. They knew where the children were. Draktor, the Krellian fortress world, heavily defended at the heart of their empire. "That's where we're going," Kim announced to his officers. "Full fleet. We're bringing our children home. Sir, Draktor is protected by their entire home fleet, 500 warships, and the planet has defensive platforms. It's suicide." Admiral Kim smiled grimly. "Good. They brought everyone. That means when we win, the Krellian Empire ends in a single battle." He turned to Captain Park. "Get your team ready. When we break through, you're going down to get our kids." Park saluted. "Yes, sir, we'll bring them home. All of them." The human fleet jumped to FTL, heading straight for the heart of enemy territory. Behind them, the galaxy watched and waited. Most expected to see humans crushed. A few hoped they might succeed. None of them truly understood what was about to happen. The human fleet emerged from FTL at the edge of the Draktor system. 200 ships against 500. Admiral Kim studied the tactical display. The Krellian home fleet was arranged in a defensive formation around their fortress world. They looked confident, prepared. They had numbers on their side. They had no idea what was coming. High Commander Vexthar's face appeared on the communication screen. He looked amused. So the humans actually came. Foolish. Surrender now and we might let you live as servants. Continue this madness and we will— Admiral Kim cut him off. You have our children. We're taking them back. Fight or don't, either way, your empire ends today. Vexthar laughed. With 200 ships? You're outnumbered more than 2 to 1. Your species is emotional and weak. You will die here and we will take more of your young. They will serve us forever. Kim's expression didn't change. You really don't understand. That's good. It'll make this easier. He closed the channel and turned to his weapons officer. Release the swarms. From each human ship, thousands of small objects launched. The Krellians saw them on sensors and laughed again. Tiny drones. Barely armed. What could they possibly do? They found out 30 seconds later. The drones were controlled by advanced artificial intelligence. Each one could think, coordinate with thousands of others, and adapt to enemy tactics in real time. They swarmed the Krellian fleet like angry insects, too many to shoot down, too fast to avoid. They latched onto ship hulls and detonated. Individually, each drone did little damage. Together, thousands of them could tear through shields and armor. Within minutes, 50 Krellian ships lost power. Their shields failed. Their weapons stopped working. Impossible. Vexthar screamed at his officers. Kill those drones! But the human fleet was already moving. They didn't waste time with beam weapons or missiles. Instead, they fired kinetic rounds. Solid metal accelerated to incredible speeds. The rounds punched through disabled Krellian ships like paper. Explosions lit up space. Dr. Hana Lee watched from the Retribution science bay. She had prepared something special for this battle. Admiral releasing bioweapon now. Small missiles launched from human ships. They hit Krellian vessels and released a fine mist. It looked harmless. It wasn't. Dr. Lee had spent 3 days studying Krellian biology. She found their weakness, a virus that attacked their nervous systems. Not lethal, but enough to make them extremely sick for hours. Krellian crews started collapsing at their stations. Their ships drifted out of formation. Some fired their weapons wildly, hitting their own allies. Chaos spread through their fleet like wildfire. This is not honorable combat. Vexthar raged. You took children, Admiral Kim replied coldly. Honor died when you did that. The battle turned into a massacre. Human tactics were brutal and efficient. They targeted command ships first. They used the disabled Krellian vessels as shields. When human ships took critical damage, their crews set them on collision courses with enemy vessels, turning their own ships into weapons. The Krellians had never seen warfare like this. Most galactic species fought with rules. They avoided excessive casualties. They negotiated when things went badly. Humans didn't do any of that. They fought to win no matter the cost. After 2 hours, the Krellian home fleet was destroyed. 450 ships turned into debris. 50 managed to escape to FTL. The humans had lost 87 ships, but they had won. Decisively. Captain Park, Admiral Kim said, the path to Draktor is clear. Go get our children. Captain Ji-won Park and her Special Forces team loaded into drop pods. Sergeant Minho Choi checked his weapon one last time. Ready when you are, Captain. Let's bring them home, Park said. The pods launched, streaking through space toward the planet below. Krellian defense platforms fired at them, but human ships destroyed the platforms quickly. Most pods made it through. They slammed into the ground near the fortress holding the children. The fortress was massive. Thick walls, multiple layers of security, hundreds of guards. It was designed to be impossible to breach. But the humans had brought something special. Sergeant Choi placed a shaped nuclear charge against the main wall. Everyone back. The charge detonated with a blinding flash. When the smoke cleared, there was a hole large enough to drive a tank through. Move! Move! Park shouted. Her team poured through the breach. The Krellian guards inside opened fire. The humans returned fire harder. It was close combat, brutal and fast. The Special Forces had trained for exactly this, fighting in tight spaces against superior numbers. They moved through the fortress level by level. Every guard they encountered went down. Some surrendered. Most fought and died. The humans didn't slow down. They had one mission, find the children. Daun heard explosions getting closer. The other children were scared, crying, not understanding what was happening. She tried to keep them calm. Someone's coming. I think it's help. Then the door to their cell block exploded. Soldiers in black armor rushed in, weapons ready. Tayun's heart leaped when she saw the flag on their shoulders. Earth's flag. They were humans. Captain Park saw the children and felt relief flood through her. They were alive, scared but alive. "We're from Earth," she said gently. "We're taking you home," Daun started crying. So did most of the other children. But these were tears of joy. "My dad, is he here?" "Admiral Kim is in orbit," Park said with a smile. "He's been looking for you. Let's not keep him waiting." The Special Forces team moved quickly. They checked each child for injuries. A few had been hurt, but nothing critical. They gave out food and water. Then they began moving them out of the fortress toward the extraction point. High Commander Vexthar tried to mount a final defense. He gathered his remaining guards and attempted to block the exit. Sergeant Choi's team handled them. It was over in seconds. Vexthar himself was captured alive. Captain Park looked at him with cold eyes. "You made a mistake. What kind of monsters are you?" Vexthar demanded. "You destroyed my fleet. Killed thousands, for what? A few young ones?" "For our children," Park said simply. "And yes, we'll destroy 1,000 fleets if we have to. You should have known that before you took them." The extraction went smoothly. Transport ships landed and loaded all 47 children. They were lifted to orbit where medical teams waited. Dr. Hana Lee was there, tears streaming down her face as she held her twin sons. They were thin and scared, but alive. Admiral Kim went to the medical bay immediately. Dae-Yoon saw him come through the door and ran to him. He caught her in his arms, holding her tight. Neither spoke for a long moment. They didn't need to. "I knew you'd come," Daun whispered finally. "Always," Kim said. "Always." High Commander Vexthar was brought before Admiral Kim. The Krellian looked at the human commander with new eyes. This wasn't the weak species he had expected. These were apex predators who had been holding back. "Why?" Vexthar asked. "We are more numerous. We have controlled this region for centuries. How did you defeat us so easily?" Admiral Kim looked at him without pity. "You fight to conquer. We fight to protect. You have rules and honor. We have purpose. You saw our children as property. We see them as everything. That's the difference. That's why you lost." "What happens now?" Vexthar asked. "Your empire is finished. You will be tried for war crimes. Every slave market in your territory will be destroyed. Every prisoner will be freed. And if anyone ever thinks about taking human children again, they'll remember what happened here. Vexthar was taken away. He would face justice. But right now, Admiral Kim had more important things to do. He stayed with his daughter and the other children, making sure they were cared for. Medical teams treated their injuries. Psychologists helped them process the trauma. Slowly, they began to heal. In orbit around Draktor, the human fleet began cleanup operations. They destroyed every military facility on the planet. They freed thousands of slaves from various species, beings who had been held by the Krellians for years or even decades. All of them were given medical care and transportation home. The Krellian Empire formally surrendered 3 days later. What was left of their government agreed to dismantle their military, outlaw slavery, and accept human oversight for the next 50 years. They had no choice. Their fleet was gone. Their fortress world was occupied. Their empire was broken. News of the battle spread across the galaxy. Most aliens were shocked. The humans had won against impossible odds. They had used tactics no one had seen before. They had shown a level of determination and ferocity that frightened many species. Ambassador Lorith sent a message to Admiral Kim. "You have changed the galaxy. The Krellians were a major power. Now they are nothing. The Council wants to speak with you." "Let them wait," Kim replied. "I'm taking my daughter home first. The Council can talk to us when we're ready." The human fleet began the journey back to Earth. They moved slowly, carefully. The children needed time to recover. Many had nightmares. All needed counseling. But they were together, they were safe, and they were going home. Daun stood at the viewing window of the Retribution, watching the stars. Her father came to stand beside her. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I will be," she said. "I was scared. But I knew you were coming. I told the other kids. Our parents wouldn't abandon us." Kim put his arm around her shoulders. "Never. We would burn the galaxy down before we abandoned you." The Galactic Council Station hung in orbit around Tarsus Prime, a neutral world chosen for important meetings. The massive structure could hold representatives from every member species, and today, all of them were present. The Great Hall was filled with aliens of every shape and size, all talking nervously about the same thing: humanity. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim walked through the halls with Captain Ji-won Park and Dr. Hana Lee beside him. They wore their military uniforms proudly. They had nothing to hide. Alien delegates stopped talking as they passed. Some looked afraid. Others looked curious. All of them looked at humans differently now. Ambassador Lorith met them at the entrance to the main chamber. The old alien looked tired. "Admiral Kim, I must warn you. Many species are calling for sanctions against Earth. Some even want military action." "For defending our children?" Kim asked calmly. "For destroying an empire," Lorith replied. "For using banned weapons. For refusing to negotiate. The list of charges is long." "We did what we had to do," Dr. Lee said quietly. "They took our children. What did they expect?" Lorith sighed. "That's what I tried to tell them. But many species don't understand. They see excessive violence. They don't understand the human protective instinct." "Then we'll explain it," Kim said. They entered the council chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes turned to watch them. The human delegation walked to the center platform where accused parties stood. Kim looked around at the assembled representatives without fear or apology. The council speaker, a tall being with crystalline skin, began reading the charges. "Earth stands accused of military aggression against a sovereign empire, of using biological weapons banned by Galactic Treaty, of destroying civilian infrastructure, of excessive use of force." "How do you answer these charges?" Admiral Kim stepped forward. "Not guilty." To all of them, murmurs filled the hall. The speaker raised a hand for silence. "You deny destroying the exchange station? You deny annihilating the Krellian home fleet? You deny—" "I deny nothing we did," Kim interrupted. "I deny that it was wrong. The Krellian Empire kidnapped 47 human children, innocent beings who had never harmed anyone. They planned to sell them as slaves. That is the real crime here. We simply responded." A delegate from a bird-like species spoke up. "But the force you used was disproportionate. You could have negotiated." "You could have negotiated?" Kim's voice was ice. "Tell me, delegate, do you have children?" The delegate hesitated. "I have young, yes. If someone took them, put them in a cage, planned to sell them to the highest bidder, would you negotiate? Would you measure your response? Or would you do everything in your power to get them back?" The delegate didn't answer. The hall went quiet. Dr. Lee stepped forward. "We have evidence to present. The council needs to see what we found on the exchange station and in Krellian territory." Holographic displays activated throughout the chamber. They showed images from the liberated facilities. Thousands of beings in cages, children from dozens of species. Adults worked to death. Records of sales going back centuries. Evidence that 23 council member species knew about the slave trade and did nothing. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted at each other. Some denied involvement. Others demanded explanations. The speaker called for order repeatedly. Captain Park's voice cut through the chaos. "You knew. Most of you knew slavery existed. You knew the Krellians ran the trade. You knew children were being taken. And you did nothing, because you were afraid, because it was easier to look away. We couldn't fight them," a delegate protested. "The Krellian military was too powerful." "And yet we did," Kim said. "In one battle. Because we had something you didn't. We had reason enough to try." Ambassador Lorith stood up. "The council needs to understand something about humans. I have studied their species. Their history. They evolved differently than most of us. Many species in this chamber evolved as prey animals. We learned to survive by hiding, by running, by cooperating. Humans evolved as apex predators, hunters, but they are unique among hunters. They protect their young with extraordinary ferocity." He activated another display showing human history, parents fighting to protect children. Throughout the ages, in their history, humans have gone to war over many things: resources, territory, religion. But when they fight to protect their children, they never lose. Never. It is hardwired into their species. The Krellians made the mistake of triggering that instinct. The result was predictable. The chamber was silent now. Delegates looked at the humans with new understanding. And new fear. Dr. Lee spoke again. "We didn't want this war. We wanted to live peacefully among you. to learn from you, to share knowledge. But you let slavery exist in your society. You let it thrive. And when it touched our children, we acted. If that makes us monsters, so be it. But look at what we freed. Look at who we saved. New images appeared. Freed slaves reuniting with families. Children from multiple species returned home. Adults who thought they would die in captivity now rebuilding their lives. Over 400,000 beings given freedom because humans fought. A delegate from one of the freed species stood. My daughter was held by the Krellians for 5 years. We thought she was dead. The humans found her, saved her, brought her home. They did what we could not, what we were too afraid to try. More delegates stood, more stories of freed family members, more gratitude toward humans. The tide was turning. Then young Da-un Kim entered the chamber. Admiral Kim hadn't planned this, but Dr. Lee had convinced him. The galaxy needed to see the children they had risked everything to save. Da-un walked to the center platform. She looked small among all the adult aliens, but she stood straight, unafraid. My name is Da-un. I was one of the children taken by the Krellians. I want to tell you what happened. The chamber was completely silent. Every being present listened as she described the abduction. The fear, the cages, the guards who laughed at crying children, the other young beings from different species who shared their captivity, the hopelessness that grew each day. But I never stopped believing, Da-un said. I told the other children that our parents would come, that humans don't abandon their young. Some of the alien children didn't believe me. Their species had tried to rescue them and failed. They thought they would be slaves forever. She looked directly at the council speaker. Then my father came, with the entire Earth fleet. They fought an empire for us. They risked everything. And they didn't just save human children. They saved all of us. Every being in those cages. They gave us back our lives. Several delegates were openly crying now. The speaker's crystalline face reflected the chamber lights, but his expression had softened. So yes, Da-un continued, humans destroyed an empire. They used terrible weapons. They showed no mercy to slavers. But they gave mercy to slaves. They gave freedom to the hopeless. They did what you should have done centuries ago. She returned to stand beside her father. Admiral Kim put his hand on her shoulder, proud beyond words. The council deliberated for 3 days. Behind closed doors, they argued about human actions, about galactic law, about the future. But really, the decision was already made. Da-un's testimony had changed everything. When they returned to open session, the speaker read the verdict. The Galactic Council has reviewed all evidence. We have heard testimony from victims and witnesses. We have examined human actions in the context of extreme provocation. He paused. The entire galaxy was watching this broadcast. All charges against Earth are dropped. Furthermore, the Council formally apologizes for allowing slavery to exist within our territories. 23 member species who profited from the slave trade will face sanctions and oversight. Another pause. Effective immediately, slavery is banned throughout Council space. This ban will be enforced by a new organization, the Sentinel Corps. Earth will lead this organization with authority to use military force to free any enslaved beings. Humanity is granted a permanent seat on the Council and full military rights throughout galactic space. The chamber erupted in applause. Not everyone agreed, but most did. The humans had changed the galaxy, made it better, forced it to confront its own failures. Admiral Kim accepted the Council's ruling with dignity. We thank you for your understanding. Earth will honor this responsibility. Any being in chains will have humanity's protection. Any slaver will face humanity's justice. This we promise. As the human delegation prepared to leave, Ambassador Loreth approached them privately. You have done something remarkable. You taught the galaxy that some things are worth fighting for, that protecting the innocent matters more than maintaining order. Thank you. We did what any parent would do, Kim replied. No, Loreth said gently. You did what any parent should do. There's a difference. Most of us have forgotten that difference. You reminded us. On the journey back to Earth, Captain Park reviewed intelligence reports. Admiral, we're getting signals from unexplored sectors. Reports of possible slave operations in regions we haven't investigated yet. Admiral Kim looked at the star charts. So much space. So many places where slavers might hide. So many potential victims. Then we're not done yet. No, sir. We're just beginning. Diane joined them on the bridge. She had been watching the stars, thinking about the future. Dad, when I'm older, can I join the Sentinel Corps? 5 years had passed since the Krellian War. Earth had changed, the galaxy had changed, and Daeun Kim had changed most of all. She stood in the cargo bay of the warship Justice, checking her equipment one last time. At 14 years old, she was the youngest officer ever commissioned in the Sentinel Corps. Some people said she was too young, but anyone who had seen her in training knew better. She moved like Captain Park, thought like her father, and she understood trauma in a way most soldiers never would. "Ready, Lieutenant?" Captain Park asked. She commanded the Justice now, leading Sentinel operations across 3 sectors. "Ready, Captain," Daeun replied. She wore the black uniform of the Sentinels, the same uniform worn by 2,000 soldiers across the galaxy. On her shoulder was a patch showing Earth's flag and the Sentinel symbol, a shield protecting a child. The past 5 years had been busy. The Sentinel Corps had destroyed 87 slave markets, freed over 400,000 beings from captivity, arrested thousands of slavers, and made slavery almost extinct in known space. Almost. Because there were always people who thought they could hide, who believed they could operate in the shadows, who didn't understand that humanity was watching. Major Minho Choi entered the cargo bay. He had been promoted 3 times in 5 years. "Captain, we've confirmed the target. Underground facility on Kelmar 7. Holding approximately 50 beings, mixed species, some children." Park's expression hardened. Children. Always children. Some people never learn. She activated the mission briefing. "We go in fast. Extract all prisoners. Leave nothing standing. Standard Sentinel protocol." The team loaded into drop pods. Daeun checked her weapon, a non-lethal stunner for guards, real ammunition for anyone who fought back. The Sentinels preferred to capture slavers alive for trial, but they wouldn't hesitate to kill if necessary. The pods launched. Daeun felt the familiar pressure as they entered atmosphere. She had done this 20 times now. Each mission was different. Each one mattered. Because every person they freed was someone's child, someone's parent, someone's friend. They hit the ground hard. The pods opened. The team moved like a machine, perfectly coordinated, everyone knowing their role. They breached the facility in 30 seconds. Guards tried to resist. They went down in 5 seconds. Daeun moved through the corridors with her squad. She found the holding cells and felt the familiar anger rise in her chest. Beings in cages, just like she had been, just like no one should ever be. "We're Sentinel Corps," she announced. "You're safe now. We're taking you home." Some prisoners cried. Some couldn't believe it. A small alien child, maybe 6 years old in human terms, looked at Daeun with wide eyes. "Are you really here to save us?" Daeun knelt down to the child's level. "Yes. I know you're scared. I was where you are once, but humans found me. Now we find others. You're going to be okay." The extraction went smoothly. All 50 prisoners freed, all slavers captured, the facility destroyed. Another victory for the Sentinels. Another group of families reunited. Back on the Justice, Daeun wrote her report. Captain Park reviewed it and nodded approval. "Good work, Lieutenant. Your father would be proud." "Is he still at command?" Daeun asked. "Yes. Fleet commander now, overseeing all Sentinel operations. But he watches your missions personally. Every single one." Daeun smiled. Her father worried. She understood that. But he also trusted her to do the job. That meant everything. 2 days later, Major Choi brought troubling news. "Captain, intelligence has picked up something big, a hidden network operating in the Outer Rim. Multiple species working together. They call themselves the Shadow Network, and they're planning something." "What kind of something?" Park asked. "Revenge. Against Earth. They want to restart the slave trade, and they think the way to do that is by removing the Sentinels. They're planning coordinated attacks on human colonies, specifically targeting children." The bridge went silent. Daeun felt ice in her stomach. They were trying to do it again. Take human children, force another war. "They didn't learn," Park said quietly. "They saw what happened to the Krellians and they still didn't learn. Captain, the communications officer interrupted. Fleet Commander Kim is calling for emergency conference. All Sentinel ships. Admiral Kim's face appeared on the main screen. He looked older than Daun remembered, but his eyes still burned with the same intensity. All Sentinel commanders, this is Fleet Commander Kim. We have confirmed intelligence of a large-scale threat. The Shadow Network plans to attack 12 human colonies simultaneously within 48 hours. We're not waiting for them. He paused, letting that sink in. We know their locations, all of them. We're hitting them first. 12 simultaneous strikes. Complete network destruction. No survivors in leadership. This is Operation Final Warning, because after this, no one will ever try this again. The Sentinel fleet mobilized. 2,000 warships coordinated across 12 different star systems. It was the largest operation since the Krellian War, and it would be just as decisive. Daeon's team was assigned to the primary Shadow Network facility. Captain Park would lead the ground assault. This is personal for all of us, Park told her team. They wanted to take children again. Our children. Show them why that was a mistake. The strikes happened within a 10-minute window across the galaxy. Perfect coordination. Perfect execution. The Shadow Network never saw it coming. Daeun breached the main facility with her squad. They found evidence of the planned attacks, detailed. Maps of human colonies, lists of targets, equipment for capturing and transporting children. Everything they needed to start another war. They also found prisoners. 2,400 beings held in terrible conditions. Beings the Shadow Network had captured recently, trying to rebuild their operation. The rescue took 4 hours. Every prisoner extracted, every facility destroyed. Every member of the Shadow Network leadership either captured or killed. The operation was a complete success. Admiral Kim broadcast a message to the entire galaxy. Today, the Sentinel Corps destroyed the Shadow Network. This organization planned to restart the slave trade. They planned to attack human colonies. They planned to take children. We stopped them. Permanently. He paused. His next words were delivered with absolute conviction. Let this be clear to anyone watching. Slavery is finished. Done. If you trade in suffering, we will find you. If you cage the innocent, we will free them. If you threaten children, any children, human or alien, we will end you. This is not a threat. This is a promise. The galaxy is under our protection now. The message was heard across every inhabited system. Some species celebrated, others felt afraid of human power, but everyone understood. The galaxy had changed. Humanity had become its guardians, its protectors, its enforcers of justice. 3 months later, Daeun returned to Earth on leave. She visited her father at Fleet Command. He looked tired but satisfied. The job was hard. It never ended. But it was worth doing. How many now? She asked. Over 400,000 freed in 5 years, Kim replied. Slavery rates down 97% in council space. Only small operations left and we're hunting them. Was it worth it? Daeun asked. The war, the lives lost, everything. Her father looked at her seriously. We lost 2,000 people in the Krellian War. We've lost 300 more in Sentinel operations. Every death hurts. But because of them, hundreds of thousands of beings are free. Children sleep safely. Families are together. Yes, it was worth it. They walked to the memorial. A wall of names. Every human who had died in the fight against slavery. Daeun touched the stone, feeling the weight of sacrifice. Do you think we'll ever be done? She asked. Maybe not completely, Kim admitted. There will always be people who choose cruelty, but we've changed the balance. Made it harder for them. Made it costly. Made examples that will echo for generations. Dr. Hannah Lee joined them at the memorial. Her sons were grown now, both serving in Sentinel Medical Corps. The Galactic Council wants to expand the Sentinel Corps. 10 more species are volunteering ships and soldiers. They want to help. That's good, Kim said. We taught them that protecting the innocent matters. Now they want to join the effort. That's exactly what we hoped for. A young cadet approached nervously. Fleet Commander Kim, I wanted to thank you. Your forces freed my parents 5 years ago from a Krellian facility. I joined the Sentinels because of that. Because humans showed me what heroes look like. Kim smiled. We're not heroes. We're just people who care. But I'm glad you joined us. We need good soldiers. Later, Da-Un stood at the viewing port in her father's office looking at Earth below. The planet looked peaceful from orbit. Hard to believe it had sent fleets to war. Hard to believe it had changed the galaxy. I'm shipping out again in 2 days, she told her father. New mission in the Outer Rim. Be careful, Kim said. I know you're trained. I know you're good. But you're still my daughter. I still worry. I know, Da-Un said. But this is important. Someone has to do it. And I understand better than most why it matters. Kim nodded slowly. When you were taken, I thought my world was ending. But you survived. You grew stronger. And now you're saving others. I'm so proud of you. You taught me, Da-Un said. You came for us, you never gave up. Now I'm doing the same for others.